Kinkladze will try and beat his man, and suddenly space opens up. Still Kinkladze inside the penalty area. This will be a fantastic goal. Oh, that's mesmeric. It's sublime, and it's typically Georgi Kinkladze. A footballing moment of treasure, one that in the minds of the 20,000 plus present at Main Road will forever be etched in the memory.
Long ball from Kevin De Bruyne. He's found Gabriel Jesus. Gabriel Jesus for a record-breaking goal. Right at the last. 1-0 to City. 100 points for the Blues. And another assist for Kevin De Bruyne. It's an audacious goal.
Good afternoon and welcome to Matchday Live. There are just 4 games left of the season. Oh, and we could still end up in second place and with an FA Cup trophy. Not bad, eh? We're now unbeaten in 9. We've hit form at just the right time, and we're hoping today to extend that run after a long trip down to Southampton. And there is Pep arriving. The players are arriving. I'm going to give you the team news very shortly, but you know that I like to break the rules. And so I'm going to give you something right now. Because the big news is that Erling Haaland starts today. Don't tell anybody I told you. I'm not allowed to tell you yet. But Erling Haaland starts today. We'll give you the full team news very, very shortly, in about 2 minutes' time, as soon as we are allowed to. But you can see there are the players arriving. There is Savinho. There is Bernardo Silva. 400 games with Bernardo Silva now for Manchester City. And Kevin De Bruyne there at the back. So thank you so much for joining us today on Matchday Live. Thank you. I'm so excited. We are joined in the studio today by 2 very special guests. We have one of our absolute favourites, of course. He's back. It's Steve Howey. But we're also joined by a first-time guest here, and a man that I would probably describe as terrorising people like Steve in defenders throughout his career. Welcome to Kevin Davies. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for coming in, because people might obviously well known for your time at Bolton, but you played for Southampton as well. Yeah,
I went down there about 20 years old. It came out of the blue. I was playing for Chesterfield in League One at the time. Got the call, so brilliant club. Loved playing there. 2 stints there. Obviously got sold to Blackburn, but came back not settling in Blackburn. So brilliant football club, great people. It's a real family club. So I had a really good few years down there. Yeah.
So we'll get Kevin's full take on Southampton, their season, what the game's going to be like today. But let's go on today's big Manchester City team news. So here's your starting 11 for today's game. 3 o'clock kickoff in the UK against Southampton. So in goal, it is Ederson. And then Rico Lewis starts today. Akanji is back. He's joined by Ruben Diaz and Joško Gvardiol, I presume, back at left back. I wonder how he feels about that today. There he is. Mateo Kovacic, obviously in incredible form right now. Kevin De Bruyne, captain Kev today. Bernardo Silva making his 401 appearance today for City. James McAtee today. Lots of changes in this team. Phil Foden is back as well. And there you go. There he is. Erling Haaland starts. So a start for Erling Haaland today. On your subs bench as well, it's Ortega, Marmoush, Grealish, Doku, Nico, Gundogan, Savio, Nunes and O'Reilly. So that is your Manchester City team news for today. Steve, I'm really surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, you're listening to Pep and the news conference and stuff like that. He's been saying about Haaland has been training, but I didn't expect him. I thought he might have been on the bench and maybe he's come on. But the player himself, whether he spoke to the manager, he wants to play, he wants to get back in the groove, finish the season off. Obviously, there's the FA Cup final as well. He wants to make sure he's nice and sharp for that. So, and brilliant news for City, but probably not so good news for Southampton.
Yeah, Kev, if you're a Southampton defender right now and you see, or a Southampton player in full stop and you see suddenly that, are you feeling a bit like, oh, really?
I would imagine so. I think the amount of goals that Southampton have conceded this season, it's the last thing they need to see on that team sheet. But listen, I think for Southampton, it's just a case of trying to finish the season best he can, get 1 point or two, just to make sure they're not one of the worst teams in Premier League history. But it's going to be a tough day for them today, I think.
Yeah, of course, Erling Haaland's had some luck against Southampton in the past as well. He scored some cracking goals against Southampton. I'm absolutely thrilled to see him in the lineup today. I wonder, as you say, Steve, if it is with an eye on the FA Cup final next weekend, getting some game time before that big game. Here he is. Oh, you've got to, Kevin, rate the finish.
It's a good one. That's where he's at his best, isn't he? He's just a predator, isn't he? Big, strong man in the right place at the right times. I think, yeah, the amount of quality service that they get into the box, it must be a pleasure to play the number 9 role for City. He gets so many chances, and that's what he does best, isn't he? Putting the ball in the back of the net. So it wasn't a comfortable win for him on this occasion, though. They got the win. It's one of those fighting spirit performances from Southampton, but just not good enough on the day once again. So, yeah, doing what he does best there.
Yeah, so that was Erling scoring in the return, the leg at the Etihad Stadium earlier in the season, where we won 1-0. But love that finish from Erling Haaland. So absolutely thrilled. You'll see if you're just joining us from the bottom of the screen there. Erling Haaland starts today. Loads of changes, though. Loads of changes across this starting 11, Steve, which has taken me by surprise a little bit. I kind of felt like perhaps we'd had Pep had settled on a back four for the rest of the season, and I was kind of expecting to see the Nunes, Diaz, Gvardiol, Nico, O'Reilly back four. Why do you think he's made so many changes in that back four today?
I think obviously, I mean, listen, they still could get second place, as you sort of said, but I think obviously they've got these big games coming up, and of course, as I'd mentioned before, about the FA Cup final. I think it's brilliant news for the manager that he's getting the players back, and it looks as though what he's doing is he's giving them all game time. So at any given time, they're going to be ready. I mean, listen, they always are ready. But I think at this nitty-gritty bit of the season where they could possibly pinch second, I think the manager sort of said he's not really bothered at all about getting that, Champions League spot. But when you've got a full fit squad and everybody's round to go with the cup final, in the back of your mind as well, then it's a brilliant selection problem for the manager.
I think for the players as well, isn't it? Leading up to that FA Cup final, you want to try and give Pep a headache or two on selection.
Absolutely.
They're tough, aren't they? I mean, when I got to the final with Southampton, actually, the week or two building up to it, you're trying your best just to give the manager 1 or 2 headaches on selection. So it's an opportunity for those players coming in today to really put in a good performance, get the win, and then obviously down to selection for next week in the big game.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea that they've got a chance today. Yeah. Obviously, it gives them extra bite in the stomach today. So lots of changes across the back four there. But in terms of the middle of the park, I've heard these players described on a Manchester City podcast that I was listening to this week as the uncles of the group. And I loved it, Steve. It made me giggle because Kovacic, De Bruyne, Bernardo, I'm trying to think of a really polite word of senior. I'll go senior.
Elder statesman.
Elder statesman, yes, or uncles as they were described of the team. In terms of the three of them, particularly in the last couple of weeks, we've really started to see the best of the three of them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with Kevin, there's the fact of he's leaving, which is, a lot of Man City fans would be devastated about that. It'd be amazing. I'd be very, very interested to see where he does go. Because I think he clearly thinks he's still got what it takes to be playing in the Premier League. I mean, he is a top player, and we've seen his performances in recent weeks have been excellent. Same with Bernardo Silva and Kovacic as well. We've seen him, come hugely to the fore in his last performances. But yeah, I mean, I do get the uncle ones. I'm not too sure whether them players will kind of love that tag because it kind of reminds them that they are getting on a little bit. I mean, getting on, they're still very, very young, really. But in football terms, if you want, it's kind of, yeah. You
can imagine being one of the young players, having them around there, what they bring, the experience and know how to be training and playing with these guys. I mean, they've done it all, haven't they? It must be brilliant to have them around every day just to learn from them. It must be unbelievable. Oh,
yeah, there was City put on the social media this week a clip of Kev in training, and Nico O'Reilly was defending against him, and I just thought, you're never going to get better training than
it's everything
that.
they bring, isn't it? The standards they bring to training, the professionalism, all those kind of things that it takes to be at the top and to win trophies. Those guys have done it all, haven't they? So great role models,
Yeah, unbelievable. I just love the way that they've stepped up recently as well. Obviously in January as well, we bought Nico in January, and I thought he had a great start. But I feel like, Steve, almost like, Kovacic and Bernardo went, okay, you can bring in a youthful player in this position, but just watch. And then they just seem to up their game.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously, for me, his experience is invaluable. You can't, well, I mean, you can buy it, but really, if you've got players of the quality and the experience of those three that we've just mentioned, I mean, it must be brilliant for the manager, first and foremost, but it's brilliant for everybody else that's, in and around the squad. And certainly the young ones, Davies just sort of said there, for the young lads to be looking at, and not just the young lads, even the lads that's just 5-6 years younger than those three players, they'll be watching them all the time. How do they do this? How do they train? What are they like off the pitch? They're just back home, with a family and stuff like that. They'll be looking at every dimension and every aspect of how these players work, because you don't stay at the top of the game at this level if you're not doing it right, and them three clearly are.
They really are. Did you say Davo as well? Is that your nickname?
Yeah, that's what.
Davo. Is it always Davo?
Davo. Depends north or south. Yeah.
Okay, Davo. Well, I'll stick with Kevin until we know each other a bit better. In terms of Kevin De Bruyne, though, I'd love your personal sort of take on that, because obviously you were at Bolton for a similar period of time as that Kevin De Bruyne has been here. When you knew that you were coming up to your last handful of games, your last, time at Wembley, your last home game here at the Etihad that Kevin's got, when you were coming up to your last games, what was it like?
I think it was emotional for me. I think having your family grow up there, your kids watch you week in, week out and stuff, living in the area. I think if you can be fortunate enough as a player to get a club where you feel it's like home. I had opportunities to leave, as you do as a footballer, but I was just so happy at Bolton, obviously under Sam and other managers coming in. It felt like home. I didn't want to leave. So to have 10 years there, to captain for, I think, 4 or 5 of those years, it was brilliant for me. So I fell out with the manager who came in, Dougie Freeman, towards the end, so I wasn't featuring in the last few games when we were pushing for playoffs, which was disappointing, really. At the time, for me, your sense of pride and all those kind of things was tough to do. Sat in the crowd watching is not something I was used to, really. So it was tough for the family. But I just remember that, the final sort of walk around the stadium, all the fans had stayed behind. My kids were on the pitch with me, so I'm quite a hard, tough person. There was 1 or 2 tears from me personally. I'm sure Kevin, he'll want to finish the season, on top with a bang, really, try and win the FA Cup, obviously secure the Champions League. But I think that final home game, that's probably when it hits home most, I think.
Oh, gosh, that's a week on Tuesday against Bournemouth, and there's going to be a big farewell to Kevin De Bruyne after that game as well. I can't wait. It's going to be very, very emotional. In terms of Kevin's last 4 games, though, Steve, it feels like he's playing with... he's like a man possessed in the last few games. Almost feels like there's... obviously he's not staying, he's leaving. He's said some things perhaps he wishes he was staying, it seems to come across. And he feels like he's really playing with a man that's proving a point almost.
I think that's the key thing. I think he's proven a point, which he doesn't have to, because he's such a good player. But obviously, with the contract at the end of the season, and that hasn't come. Obviously, I think he wanted to stay, but for whatever reason, that hasn't materialised. But you can see in his performances, he's thinking, I'm going to show everybody here that I can still do it. And of course, for Kevin as well, managers watching, and they will be sending players to the game. You know what he's about, but be asking these people that go to the games, is he still getting around the pitch? What was his impact on the game? And they'll be going back to the managers, and I'm talking about managers in the Premier League, because I still think he'll stay in the Premier League.
No, Steve, no.
Because of the fact that I don't think he wants to move abroad. I think his family's settled here. So, you know, it will be a kind of a kick in the teeth for Man City. But, you know, as a player, he'd be sort of thinking, you know, I still want to play, which is the best league and the hardest league in the world. And he still thinks he's more than capable of doing that.
It will absolutely break my little heart.
You can't see him really in other colours, can you?
No, absolutely nothing to do with red ever. No, Napoli play in blue, don't they?
They do.
So maybe that would soften.
Well, actually, they've been linked, haven't they?
Soften the blow a bit. Yeah. A team in blue, maybe, you know, Coventry get promoted, and any team in blue, we'll take the blue teams. Right. In terms of stats, though, for him against Southampton, Kevin, I mean, phenomenal. Against no side has Kevin De Bruyne been directly involved in more Premier League goals than he has against Southampton. 14 goals. Hold on, 4 goals, 10 assists, so 14. Oh, my goodness. And what a day for that. In the mood that he's in the form that Southampton are in, with that previous record, I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be Kevin De Bruyne's day today. I think it could be. I think if they start right and score an early goal, it could be any score down there, really, because the lack of confidence from Southampton, and it's just been one of those seasons for them. We just want it to end as quickly as possible, really. So if they got to a good start, he could fill his boots down there today. And I'd like another Kevin De Bruyne, Erling Haaland assist and goal, please, before he leaves. Steve?
Well, I think today is a perfect opportunity for that. I mean, I watched Southampton last week against Leicester. I have to be honest, it was probably 90 minutes plus that I'm never, ever going to get back.
Why did you watch that game, by the way?
I was working.
OK.
I was working for the Premier League, but it wasn't a great performance by Southampton. If they play anything like that today, I mean, this could be, you know, as we've just mentioned, it could be a bit of a cricket score, and Man City could have an absolute field day. So apparently the goal difference swing for City is 9. So we need 9 on Arsenal. So, you know, 9-0 victory at Southampton. It's happened before, though.
It has happened before. Would jump us into second. So maybe.
I wouldn't put it past him, that'd be terrible, wouldn't it? I mean, God. I think, I don't know, you put yourself in that, as a player for Southampton, you want to try and finish with a bit of pride, don't you? It's been a disastrous season for them, so they need to put in a big performance for the fans as well. It's been a tough watch this year, as Steve said last week, terrible. So, it's all about the start for me. I think Southampton need to start well.
Lovely. Well, that is, thank you very much. That's the Manchester City team news for today. Now, as always, we send FG and Michael Brown all around the country, and we've sent them down to Southampton today. And I've just got to tell you all that about an hour ago, FG sent me a picture of him eating an ice cream, which really annoyed me because I thought he was supposed to be working. So we're going to go over now to Southampton, to FG and to Michael Brown.
Yes, hello and welcome to St Mary's Stadium. The sun is shining, Brownie is here, and it's with great pleasure to say we're starting our hit here at St Mary's, revealing the Southampton team in a moment, joined by former player Joe Tess, and thank you so much for joining us. First things first, Brownie, let's start with the Manchester City team, which the amazing people in the studio have already given to us. The back four we'll start with. Akanji's back. How important is that?
Very important. Obviously, the awareness that he has, the maturity. Obviously, he's a great player. He's got great pace that people don't see. That he's got the flexibility play in different positions. He can go and join that midfield, step in, which is important to get that overload in the middle of the pitch. So it's great to have him back. Josko Gvardiol has been absolutely brilliant. I was only talking about it today at centre back, and now he might be across the left back. We'll see how it develops. We never know how it's going to shift because Rico Lewis can also have that flexibility and move. So yeah, some great talking points. Haaland, I'm sure you're going to mention at the top of the pitch. Phil Foden back in his first start since the Manchester derby. So some exciting team news.
And staying on that point, Joe, about Josko, the fact that he switched positions so easy, so seamlessly. You did that a lot in your career. You like to play absolutely wherever you were told to play, and you did very well there. How difficult is the transition when you're moving from various places on the pitch?
I think it's not difficult if you come in and you just do it. And some players could do it, and I've obviously used to be one of those. And but I liked it when I could play and you got swapped. But when everyone was back, you were back in your original position. Then it made no sense. But when you kept playing for too long in different positions, you kind of go, that's where I normally play. So you started thinking a little bit more about it. But when you did it in just being put there and in an automatic way, you just got on with it and did it. And sometimes your football kind of knowledge just took over, and that's how it was.
And then if we look at our midfield, Brownie, as well, we've got Bernardo Silva potentially in midfield. We think it's midfield. We always predict here before kick-off. Another player, like Joe said, is so versatile. He does his job so well, and his IQ is unbelievable.
That's what it is, isn't it? The flexibility across the pitch. When we have McAtee playing, he can also play as the 10. He can play in one of the wider ones. De Bruyne, he's got that flexibility as well. So I don't see it as being a problem. I think Bernardo has obviously been infectious, been brilliant when he goes out 1v1s in wider positions, whether he plays. Drops in at left back. You know, we've seen everything from Bernardo. I think he's got an array of talents. It's one of those as well. He's very unselfish. I think that's the point. You know, some players are a little bit more selfish than him, and he's certainly not.
Yeah, he's absolutely not. Now, the man next to me, of course, is Norwegian. And guess who's back in the starting lineup today? It's Erling Haaland. First things first, from a point of view of club football, he's been absolutely exceptional. But at the point of view at international level as well, how important is he for Norway? Norwegian football, should I say?
With him and we have had him and Haaland and Martin Ødegaard, who's kind of taken the steps up, and people are looking to them. And I think as a small nation, football nation, we are in Norway, we need that kind of players to kind of lead us a little bit and take charge, and oh boy, they have done so. But the problem we have in Norway, to their level and where the rest are, is a bit of a gap, and we're trying to fill that. But you can always fill that gap when you have someone leading on, and both those players have been absolutely fantastic for Norway and in the club team. And unfortunately for Haaland, he's been injured quite a bit this season, and I think that hasn't settled him a little bit, and we'll see today how he feels when he comes back.
I don't know about you, Brownie. I'm really looking forward to seeing Erling back. He looks like he's smiling again, and like he has been all the time.
Just in time for the cup final as well.
Just in time for the cup final, indeed. Let's reveal to you the Southampton team to play Manchester City today on this sunny Saturday afternoon. In goal is Aaron Ramsdale, and then it's Harwood Bellis, Bednarek, Stevens, Bree, Wellington, Dones, Ugo Chukwu, Dibling, Fernandez and Suleimana. The substitutes are on the screen. Brownie's already having a laugh.
That went well, didn't it?
That wasn't too bad, was it, John?
That went well. What language was that in?
Pretty good, that.
I'll take that one. I absolutely will. Let's talk about that Southampton team then. Of course, their fate's already been sealed, but it's an opportunity for these players to go out on somewhat of a bit more of a positive here at St Mary's.
Yeah, I don't know if it's been more positive, because the players are in a mentally very tough situation, and every game, because they find themselves in the position of not being good enough, they're being found out. And I think as a football player, when you go to every game and you keep losing, it is very hard in terms of the mental side of football. And looking at the team that you just mentioned there very well with all the names,
that's my approval.
How do they approach it though today? How did they set up? Because obviously Taylor Harwood Bellis we know well. Yeah. How's he done, and how would you expect them to?
They are in a defensive formation. They're going to be in the back 4 or 5 with 2 in front, and then they normally play with a little bit of a 3. But today they're playing without the striker, so it looks like it's actually a 5-4.
That's the interesting one. And there's one player I want to ask you about, right? When I think and go right to the top, Tyler Dibling, I think he's got absolutely everything. I'm looking forward to see how he gets on. And if he's playing as like a false 9, or he's got freedom, he'll just sort of just filter, get on the ball. I think it'll be a perfect position for him.
Yeah, he's got a very sweet left foot. He plays normally on the right side to cut in. He is strong one-on-one. He's got that little bit of change of pace which takes you past players. He's been criticised a little bit, and we have been watching a little bit, that he doesn't work hard enough. And I think that maybe is the young player kind of mentality, that he doesn't have to work hard enough or doesn't think he has to, but we would like him to work a little bit harder. And I think also because you play for a poor Southampton team, you need that.
I think that's the one. Psychologically, it'll be difficult for a young player. Do you know, when you're getting beat, when you've not got the ball? For what I've seen, let's see him today. I feel like he's one of the best youngsters we've seen for some time.
And I agree. When he's on it, he is so strong one-on-one, and he can create things with it. But that's the little negative side with him. And I think he's learning. And I think it's his first season in the Premier League, and we expect big things from him. And for Southampton as well, he's a local boy, and I think that is so important for a football club.
Well, Joe, thank you so much for joining us here. Me and Brownie will be back very shortly, but for now we're going to head back to the studio. And before I do so, Brownie, you had a laugh at me with how well I pronounce teams. Natalie does it every week at the Etihad, and she's brilliant when she does it pitch side as well. So I'm over to you, Nat. Get the pronunciation right, please.
Oh, FG, thanks very much. Why was FG nice to me there, Steve?
What does he want?
Don't know. That's what I'm thinking. What does he want? There'll be a text message for something after this, won't there?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much to FG and to Michael Brown there, and they've been wonderful all season long. We'll get to see them again at Fulham, but they've been cracking this season, haven't they? And they were joined there by Joe Tessam, who played with Kevin.
Yeah.
You remember him?
Yeah. I've seen him down there a little bit. He does a bit of the local radio down there. Great guy. Looks like he could still play, actually, do a job.
Looked a bit suave, didn't he?
Suave.
Yeah.
Suave.
Yeah, he was a great lad. But yeah, Joe was good. But
Yes, Steve, eh? Suave today, or you former footballers, eh?
Suave, yeah. I've heard that for the first time today from yourself.
I said you were svelte. Didn't
Svelte, that was it.
Svelte
Suave.
was my
I get
word.
suave. but
Suave and svelte. Yes, that's
Very nice.
that's you, Steve.
I've been called a lot worse, believe me. I'll take it.
And by the way, I'd love to get into that shortly as well, because you two played with each other as well. And I was hearing just before we came on about a holiday in Marbella, and was it Dubai or Abu Dhabi?
Yeah, Dubai as well,
So
yeah.
maybe hopefully we'll have time.
Team bonding.
Yeah.
Team bonding.
Team bonding.
We
is
had
what they
to. The
called
manager
it.
told us we had to.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully we'll get onto that a little bit later on. There's our manager in the background there. There is Pep Guardiola, of course, down at Southampton today. Southampton, who, of course, are already relegated. It's been a really difficult season for Southampton. They still need 1 point to avoid being the worst ever Premier League team in terms of points. They're currently level with Derby on 11. What has happened to Southampton this season, Kev?
I don't know. I think it's just been. I think Russell Martin, sort of since he's left, has kind of admitted that he got the recruitment wrong. I think that's what it boils down to. I think he spent over £100 million in the summer. For me, you look at that team on paper today, there's not enough know-how, not enough Premier League experience. Generally, they've gone for the younger players, tried to develop and sell on. It's been a bit of a business, Southampton, for the last 10, 15 years, some great young players coming through there. But I think the recruitment, it boils down to that at the end of the day. They've not brought enough experience in. I think Russell Martin himself said he was surprised by the physicality of the league, got some good technical players. And I think as a team, watched them early on in the season, Russell was refusing to change the way he played. They were a bit naive, playing out from the back, getting picked off, and they were 2 or 3 goals down before you knew it. And it was an uphill battle all the way. He stuck to his game plan all the way through, lost his job. Juric came in, didn't get much change out of the players. Obviously, Simon Rusk now comes in with Lallana, and it's just been the same, really. They've been in games, conceded a lot of late goals as well, and just not been able to get any sort of momentum in the season at all. 2 wins all year, let a load of goals in. And when you're not scoring many and conceding 2 or 3 games, it's always going to be difficult, isn't it? So it's been tough, but for me, the recruitment was wrong.
At the start of the season, Steve, I just didn't have them as a team that could possibly end the season as the worst Premier League team ever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult ask, really, to be the worst team. I mean, if you'd sort of said we want you to be, we'd be like, there's no chance. And I think, for me, the gap between, even the teams that are going to get promoted this season, it's getting bigger and bigger and harder for them teams. And I think that was touched on it. I think whilst I understand the manager's principles of what he wanted to do, there was times I'd watch Southampton this season and they'd be in the game, they'd be absolutely fine, they'd look comfortable, good on the ball. But at times they'd concede goals by overplaying out from the back. The goalkeeper misplacing a pass to central defender, full-back, and then they'd be undeservedly really 1-0 down or 2-0 down. And because they haven't got really that cut and thread going forward, they were never getting back into the game. And I think that's what's cost them hugely. And then you've got to look at confidence as well. They go one goal down, you can say that maybe the shoulders just all of a sudden become a little bit hunched and they're just thinking, can we get this over with? I expected them to get something last week against Leicester, but as I said, they were poor. And what I was surprised at as well, I'm pretty sure we're going to get onto them, is the young lad Diblin. He didn't even start. And then what Tossman just sort of said there about, he's probably been accused of not working hard enough. Now, for a young lad, even if you have the ability, that's the first thing you should be doing, working hard. So you're really looking at the management to be having a word with them, and certainly the senior players should be sort of dragging them to one side and saying some words. And I'll be honest, probably not nice ones, because you need every player to be helping out, and the least you can give is 110%. Then let your ability shine. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened for them this season.
Yeah, really interesting that, because of course from this dark season for Southampton, Tyler Dibbling seems to have been the only shining spark. I mean, Southampton have allegedly put £100 million price tag on his head, which apparently all the players at Southampton tease him about, which I like to read. What have you made? Why has this been his breakout season? What has he done that's been so impressive in this team?
I can relate to when I burst onto the Premier League at the age of 20. He plays without fear. He's playing with freedom. You feel like there's no pressure on him. Obviously, he's grown up around the club. He knows the culture and everything, and the fans, and he's just gone out there and played and I've had fun with it, really. For me, when he has played, he just gives you something. He gives you an outball because, you know, they are constantly under pressure, giving the ball away. You can give the ball to him. He can just take the pressure off you, get you a foul, get you a corner, get you a free kick. Just allows you to get the team up the pitch a little bit. So for me, as a manager, you've got to say, what is he bringing enough positives against the negatives? You know, if he's not going to track back a little bit, he's a young kid. But if he's giving you enough going forward, you can kind of sacrifice that a little bit. We've played with players like Natalie in the past who, you know, with genius on the ball, he could well be one of those players. Didn't do a lot of defending, but God, going forward, he's outstanding. He's been the breath of fresh air for particularly the home fans. He's been that one player that's got people excited, really, out of a team that's been disappointing as a whole, really. So
he reminds me a little bit of Jack Grealish.
Yeah, he does.
You know, just the style of him. He drags in, as you just sort of said there, he gets the fouls, gives you a little breather, which is absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think he's a good player. I'm not sure about 100 million, though.
Yeah, 100 million price tag, eh? Now, forgive me, gents. I'm a nice person, but sometimes we need to talk about things that happened that weren't particularly nice. And both of you got relegated in your time as players. It was here at City for you, Steve, and it was Blackburn and Bolton as well for you. So, okay, so I'd love to get into the mindset of what it's like when you've been relegated. I mean, for you, how many games left did you have when you were relegated, and what was it like after that?
Well, the Blackburn one, I'd left Southampton, been sold for 7 million, signed a 7-year contract. I loved my time at Southampton that first season, but obviously it was a good deal for the club, a bit more money for me, so we did the deal. But I never settled that year. I had a few injuries, illnesses. I was in and out of the team, didn't particularly settle in the dressing room. And they got relegated on the back of it, and they won the Premier League a couple of years before, so it was a kind of big drop from them. But I think being relegated, I didn't feel quite part of it, and had the opportunity to go back to Southampton the following year. So it didn't hurt me as much at that point, because I was only 21, 22 at the time. But I think the one at Bolton definitely hurt. And it was on the last day of the season when Aguero scored the winner.
No!
Yeah, so we had to beat Stoke and hope QPR lost, which at the time we were drawing 2-2. And obviously QPR, I think, were 2-0 up at one stage, so we were thinking we're doomed anyway. So, yeah, I remember coming off with 10, 15 minutes to go. We just needed a goal in the end, but obviously City turned it around. So I remember seeing the emotion of City winning, and then I was being relegated. It was tough. I was captain as well, so it was probably the toughest part of my career, actually, that relegation, because obviously they haven't been back since, and they've dropped down the league since then. So it was tough to take that one, yeah.
It's crazy to think in all of our... you don't think about the other side of it when you are having the happiest moment of your life, which it still is. Steve, for you, what was it like when you were relegated with City, and how many games left were there?
I haven't thought about it that much, because it's that hard to take. But we knew it was going to be a tough ask. I mean, I came in, Joe was the manager, and he'd bought... Obviously, the City had gone promotion. I can remember watching the game, actually, when they got promoted, and never thinking in a million years I'd be joining the club. But Joe had signed myself, Alfie Haaland, obviously Erland's dad, Lawrence Charvet and George Weah. That were the 4 signings. I think George might have been 114 years of age at that particular time.
That was still excited about it, Steve.
But yeah, I mean, it was one of them ones. You start the season like a lot of teams that when you come into the Premier League, you start the season off, okay, but then it just becomes relentless. You're playing against top players week in, week out, and there was times we got beat quite convincingly, and it was a tough one to take. But obviously, Joe unfortunately lost his job because of that, and then Kevin Keegan came in. But then the turnaround of we still had quite a good few players left in the squad, and that my second year. But obviously, Kevin added some quality players as well. Albertovic, Alabinabi, people like that. And that's when the club all of a sudden started getting better and better and better. But as a player, you just feel as though not only have you failed personally, but also professionally. You've let yourself down, you've let your family down, you've let the club down, you've let the fans down, and it's a big sort of burden to carry.
I think a lot of people are going to lose jobs as well and stuff, so you carry that with you. So it's tough to take. Say it's not just personally; it's the club as a whole. The people that are going to lose jobs and stuff. That was tough. Yeah.
Did you bump into the fans in the petrol station or in shopping or anything? Did you ever speak to fans when you'd gone down? What were they like?
I mean, we got relegated, and we had the Player of the Year awards that evening, so we had to rock up to that. And obviously, that was a difficult one to take, really. I remember Owen Cole was the manager, got up and said, look, it's a step back for us. We were like, obviously it was a big step back, so he never recovered. So just didn't want to be there, really. It's the pride thing. You're a little bit embarrassed and stuff that you weren't good enough, and all those emotions that play on you, and you've got to take that into that summer and then prepare to be in the Championship, which is difficult because you want to be playing at the top level. So a lot of emotion in there, but yeah, it was a difficult one. Yeah.
I feel really, really bad for asking that question now. Anybody else?
Tissues, yeah.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Happy times. Right, some happy news. Manchester City women currently leading Crystal Palace in the last WSL game of the season 4-2. 2 for Caroline, 1 for Jill Ward, and another for Rebecca Kanak. There's about 5 minutes left there, so we'll update you when that goes to full time as well. Right, more joy. We're going to bring joy back into the studio now, because Inside City hit its 500th episode this week. And there has been some unbelievable moments throughout the 500. So somebody sat down and did the impossible job of picking out 4 of the best moments. Here you go.
Here in Manchester, going up into the Manchester City football game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
Kevin, why a lot of y'all? What's with you guys in my name, man? Yes, I know, right? You're the link right here. The link. Oh no! Bend it like Beckham. Give me. Quan, edit that out. The first shot was a warm up. These are different boots. These ain't the boots I'm used to.
I didn't get that.
You get this.
I didn't get that,
You
kid.
just get my victory lap. Come on. Get my victory lap, kid. Looking this way, guys. Now look at me, right here.
And do the Harlem Shake.
Good joke, Iron Man now.
And do the Harlem Shake.
Esperamos y contraataque.
Now Balotelli managed to get in front of Evans and go down, and it's a free kick just outside the penalty area. City is saying penalty. It's also a red card for Johnny Evans. What a start to the second half at Old Trafford. Just letting Aguero and Milner pick them up.
No, Mario. Aqua? No, yeah. I think it's both.
Bolton is getting it. 6-1 to Manchester City. Dzeko makes no mistake this time. He's got his second.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Come on, guys. Protect yourself. Yes.
Door for the final round. Chapman's corner out confident. He can close this out. One more round. 3 final deciding minutes. One, 2, 7, 8, 9. He's out.
If he dies, he dies.
I miss the Kolarov content so much. So that is 500 episodes of Inside City to celebrate. Somebody picked out four of the best moments. It must have been the most difficult job. And now we'd like you to vote for your favourite moment. So get onto YouTube now. The vote is live. What are you going for, Steve?
It was right with Julian was Iron Man.
Julian was Iron Man in that Harlem Shake clip, yes.
Yeah, I think it's between that one and the one with Chappie and Kolarov at the end there.
Because of Kolarov's deadpanness, yes.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good actor, wasn't he?
It might have been the first time you've seen any of those,
Yeah,
Kevin.
yeah.
Yes, which
Yeah,
one were you
impressive.
going for?
I think the last one, yeah, Kolarov. I love a bit of boxing, so that was good. That was funny.
If I'd have been picking them out, there was, I don't know if you all remember, when Kolarov used to do the Christmas songs, and there was behind the scene one once of him singing, like, he was doing Jingle Bells, but he was saying it, like, in the most terrifying voice ever, like, Jingle Bells, Jingle Bells. It was terrifying. That would have been in my top, I think, yes. But I feel like we need to get the players back out doing silly things like that, Steve. Why are they not, like, boxing kit men anymore?
I don't know. Do you know? I'm pretty sure players like a laugh. You know, and I think you know, if you asked, I'm pretty sure if you asked the players, they'd be up for it. You know, players do like a giggle, and sometimes just kind of take them away from the fully focused thing.
Boxing ex-players, would you be up for that? Current players box ex-players?
Yes.
He dies. Lovely. Well, you can have a vote now. That is on YouTube, and we'll tell you what the winner was, or winner is even at half-time. Now, you know, all season long, we've been sending off FG and Michael Brown all around the country, except 3, by the way. There was 3 games that FG didn't want to go to, so I had to go to Bournemouth when we got beat. Thanks, FG. And it was also Crystal Palace when we got beat as well, when FG didn't want to go. Cheers for that, FG. But I did get to Wolves when we won in the last minute, and that was amazing. But apart from that, FG and Michael Brown have been around the country, and they had a little trip to Real Madrid as well. It's maybe not been the most successful season for them, but they've had a great time. So let's go back over to them now and find out their highlights from the year.
Yeah, hello everyone, welcome back to St Mary's. And funnily enough, we're just doing a segment here where we're supposed to be talking about our best moments of the season. Pan the camera around real quick. Our best moment of the season is our personal photographer.
FG's personal photographer, there on the right. He likes Sheffield Wednesday as well, so we've got to be a little bit careful with him. He always sneaks up behind you, but they've got embarrassed. Why have they got embarrassed?
They've got a little bit shy, Lexi United there. They're doing a brilliant job, aren't they? Any of the photos that you see on socials come from them. As you can see, Isaac is now back hard at work taking pictures of Pep. But, I mean, favourite moments of the season? We've had a lot, Brownie. We've been lucky enough to be travelling around the world, but funnily enough, my favourite away game of the season was when you were with Natalie at Wolves and John Stone scored in the last minute. I was in Abu Dhabi and I enjoyed every moment of it.
That was special. I'm glad you know you've given it to us. Myself and Natalie were waiting. We were like on our knees and thinking this is going to be some moment, some pitch side hit. If it goes in, I'm thinking go on, and then it just goes. And then we were almost celebrating with Pep. It was like, Natalie, you can't go there. You've got to stay. You've got to wait. She was almost on the pitch. You know, she doesn't come to too many away games, but, you know, fantastic moments. We're very lucky, aren't we, to get involved and get to be near so much. And I really like the ending when we win and go in front of the supporters. The team come across. They're the special moments. We've had some great guests as well.
We have had some absolutely amazing guests. I mean, by the way, Natalie, that away segment of Wolves was fantastic. If I do say so, our away section is just behind us. Yeah, I mean, guest-wise, Eddie Hearn, I remember you uncovered my secret. He asked me for some money after that hit because I snuck into his seats. But, I mean, always, as always, Jolie and Ali, various others, Steve Howey, who's in the studio as well. We've had so many good guests, haven't we?
Yeah, we've had loads as well, Joe. I managed to get a piece up with Darren Fletcher, the commentator, up on the gantry. I really enjoyed going to do that. Some of the commentators coming over, talking about what they do, how they bring and how they prep. It's good. Lots of former players we've had as well who were working on the day. So lots of different angles. It's been really good. There's still a bit to go, FG. We shouldn't really be talking about the season too much yet because I feel like there's still so much more to give.
Well, of course, we've got Fulham away to come. We've got today as well. I remember I took Brownie home after Tottenham. We lost the game in the, was it the EFL we lost?
We did. It was a long trip.
I was falling asleep. I couldn't really stay awake, and Brownie just fell asleep next to me and enjoyed his nap.
It wasn't a great driver, but I'm returning the favour today. I've got the long one from Southampton, so let's see how we get on.
Yeah, we're like on the deck now, I'd say, aren't we, pitchside, me and you? Which one would you be?
Well, that's a good question. You're pigeonholing yourself in that, are you?
Maybe we should just head back to the studio and that'll give us...
You're going to get some stick now for that.
Over to you, Nat. We'll leave it to you.
Ant and Dec. multi-award winning British legends, Ant and Dec. I was thinking Chuckle Brothers, gents. Do you remember? If you remember them, the younger generation won't. But if you, to me, to you, that is definitely them too. And I just love the fact that Brownie's favourite away moment of the whole season was when he was with me at Wolves. I've only been to 3 away games all season. Poor FG. But he was right. You know, we scored in the absolute last minute, John Stones header, and we were crouched down trying to not block the away fans from seeing what was going on, and we just exploded. And we were like the distance of us from Pep and the bench, and it was the only time in my whole life I felt like I was celebrating with Pep and like all of his team and the subs and everything. That was my highlight of the season, definitely, as well. So thank you so much to FG and Michael Brown. We do enjoy mocking them every single week. So welcome, Kevin. We've said it. If you're just joining us, we have a new guest for today, Kevin Davies. Of course, you might know him from his time at Bolton, but of course, he was also at Southampton, which gives us a lovely link for today and a lovely reason to invite you on today, Kevin. So we like to, when we get new guests, just to spend a little few minutes talking about them, finding out about their career. And I think it's wonderful that we've got Steve here today as well, because when did you guys play together?
Bolton.
Yeah. I didn't know you were at Bolton.
Yeah, when I left Leicester, I went to Bolton. I'd spoke to Sam Allardyce, who was the manager, and I'd signed until the end of the season. So
it's about 05, somewhere around there, was it? 04,
04, 04, 05. I mean, I think I only played 1 or 2 games, but obviously I'd been a part in getting to know the lads and stuff like that. Yeah, but it kind of, the football probably didn't take off, but the social side with him and a few of the other lads certainly did.
Right, hold that thought, because I want to know all about that. But let's get to Bolton throughout your career then, Kevin. So you actually started at Chesterfield and then you moved to Southampton. So what was your time like at Southampton?
Yeah, it was good, like I said earlier on the show. I'd had 4 years at Chesterfield. We got to the FA Cup semi-final. Got people like Sean Dyche in there. Brilliant for me. I'd been released from Sheffield United at 15, 16 in the school. It's my team, which is heartbreaking again. But got the opportunity to go and play, and I was in the team pretty early there. So 4 amazing years there, promotion, semi-final, great manager, John Duncan, who was like a father figure to me, and then obviously got the move to Southampton, the big jump to the Premier League. So it was amazing. Just playing in the Premier League, you know, going from sort of League 1, League 2, when you've got a few thousand fans, to go into the Premier League and playing against like Chelsea and all these big teams. It was a bit like, you know, dreams were made of, really. So I really enjoyed that, and then I got a big move to Blackburn on the back of that, didn't settle, and then came back for another 3 years at Southampton. So enjoyed my 2 spells down there, really much, yeah.
And then from Southampton, it was the move to Bolton, which of course was a really incredible time in the club's history. You played with players like JJ Okocha, obviously, like everybody adores JJ Okocha, Ivan Campo. The time that just, when I think back about that Bolton time, and I work with Sam a lot, we're good friends, it just seems like a magical.
It was, yeah. Yeah, it's great because I'd been released from Southampton, so that was 2003. Again, you talk about highs and lows in footballs. I'd been sort of phased out under Gordon Strachan. They got to the cup final that year, and obviously I was not knowing where I was going to be. So I think Sam got on the phone to my agent, said I literally went there on trial for 6 weeks, and I remember just going in there from day one and feeling I wanted to be part of this club, because it was like you came for 6 months. There was a great camaraderie amongst the players, the staff. It was a fun place to work. We worked hard, but Sam was the leader in sort of knowing when to work hard, when to have a day off, when to go and have a drink, when to do all these right things, looking after the families. It was a great club, and I just thought, you know what, I've got to knuckle down here for 6, 7, 8 weeks, got the contract. And I remember him coming to me the first week, we played Man United, first game of the season. He said, there's a 1-year contract, you're starting on Saturday. I was like, wow. And I managed to get a good season. We lost 4-0 against Man U, but other than that, it was good. And I played every game that year. We got to a cup final. I picked up a few awards and stuff, so it was a complete turnaround for me. And I just loved it. It was just a great place. We had some great characters in the dressing room. It was a good mix of sort of the English players and then all these flair players coming in. You know, Okocha, Campo, Gary Speed coming in. There was some great characters in there. I loved it. It was a great place to work.
And when you were playing for Bolton, you scored against City. Should we have a look? Should we give you a little moment?
Yeah, I can't really remember it, to be honest.
Look.
I've had too many bangs to the head, so it'd be nice to Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
And that is Iron Man, Joleon Lescott, that you beat there.
Yeah, I wonder if the keeper might have done a bit better there, Steve, I'm not sure, but...
It's in the corner, though, to be fair.
Yeah, it looked well there. It's it's tough to score around the penalty spot, but yeah, I don't look too happy about that one. I must have been losing or something, I'm not sure, but yeah, decent goal, that one, yeah. So, great City kit, that as well, wasn't it? Brilliant.
I love that.
Nice old school.
Yeah, nice kit, that one.
By the way, Kevin, you look exactly the same.
Oh, thank you.
Like, do you have a secret you can share with us?
No.
Because you look exactly the same.
About stone heavier, but No, living on the south coast. It's nice,
oh.
you know, better weather
Okay.
and stuff. But
it's okay, just rubbing that in here in Manchester.
and a great makeup artist is.
So the great times there at Bolton. Aside of your game that I'd like to talk about, you weren't scared to get stuck in. Is that fair to say?
That's a fair comment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's give and take. You know, dish it out, take it a bit.
Oh,
you know?
absolutely.
People forget I was the most fouled for about 3 or 4 seasons in a row as well. But obviously, fouled a lot as well. But I think that was just where I grew up and stuff. You know. At the same state as Cal Walker, actually, in Sheffield, we grew up around that area. So it was pretty tough growing up and stuff. But, you know, again, going into Chesterfield at a young age, growing up, I was playing against, you know, men at sort of 8, 9 and 10. I'm playing on the fields with these blokes who are knocking you around and toughening you up, breaking arms and playing on. It was tough, but I think it just came from my upbringing, really. But, yeah, I enjoyed the physical side of it, let's say that, yeah.
Kevin, do you by any chance know who my favourite footballer of all time is?
I'm going to say it's Aguero.
It was indeed Sergio Aguero. Shall we have a look at you and Sergio Aguero?
Yeah, I'd like to look at this one. I don't think there's much contact here.
What did you just do to him?
I can't believe I've actually done that because I've been here with my kids and they've stayed behind and he's given them a shirt and signed it, so I feel really bad now. Actually, might be one of those.
We're getting a proper freeze frame here of it.
I think it went between his legs. You know, I'm not too sure there was much going on there. Maybe the Achilles.
Oh, that's shocking.
It's a bad one, that, isn't
You've done well getting a yellow.
I'm a bit baffled there, but that looks pretty bad, actually. I apologise for that one.
Thank you. I appreciate your apology. Steve, what did you make of that?
That's not a... Well, it's a forwards tackle, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Not much intent there.
We're just miles away from the ball.
Yeah, I thought I could just poke it, you know.
No, not good.
Yeah, can we move on?
Yes, let's move on. I want to ask you about number 9s, of course, out-and-out goal scorers. There doesn't seem to be many around in the game at the minute. Every top club seems to be scrambling and trying to find a number 9. Obviously, we've got the world's best in Erling Haaland. There is a few dotted around the Premier League now, but what do you make of the shortage of the out-and-out number 9s?
I think it's something that certainly at the top levels in Europe, I think it's, you know, everyone's looking for these sort of little 10s now, aren't they? The false 9s and these technical players. But I think if you go down the EFL, I think it's still most managers would want that point of attack where you can get the ball into them. For me, it's all about the ball sticking, isn't it? And then allowing those technical players to come and play in behind you. That was my role at Bolton, really, to go hold the ball, get the flick-ons and let those better players get on the ball, really. So, I don't know, really. I think people have been talking about it for a while, that it's dying out. But there's, you know, the likes of Delap, who's coming through now. There's still a few in there, I think. But I don't know if it's down to, like, even at the academies recruitment, are they looking for the more technical players now? Or football's changed a lot, hasn't it, over even the last 10 years since I retired? It's become a lot more possession-based, whereas before it would be get it up there, get bodies around, pick up the second ball and then go and play. And I think these managers like Pep have come in and have changed the face of football, really. So, yeah.
This day and age as well with centre-halves. Centre-halves will not and do not like playing against somebody that's big and aggressive and physical. They don't like it. You know, they're quite happy for somebody to come short and take a little touch and turn and, you can run at me if you want, but they will not like an elbow. I mean, Davies was aggressive. You know, you've got 2 centre-halves at Man City that do like that kind of thing. They're not too, but particularly sort of Diaz, you know, he'd like that kind of challenge, but the vast majority of defenders don't like that.
I think Erling's a little bit different. It's not that kind of, you know, I don't get the feeling that he likes the physical side of the game. I think he likes to run in behind more, doesn't he? And he's not one of those that wants the ball to feet him, which is, do you disagree or not? I'm not sure he likes to go and really commit and get,
I think we've seen
try and beat up the centre-half type, is he?
We'd seen a goal against Southampton, and I think there was, like, when it got dinked in, the Southampton lads trying to hold him, and he just kind of shoves him off. So he knows he's pretty much stronger than anybody else. But, yes, I think he prefers the balls in behind rather than coming to feet. But at the same time, I think he does like it when it's, you know, when it starts to get a little bit tasty. I think he's one of these that goes, all right, let's bring that on.
Well, like Kevin Davies.
Yeah.
I think for my mentality, you know, with obviously playing against each other, it's like trying to win that battle on the day, isn't it?
Of course, yeah.
Like, whether you win or lose, that's different. It's not, for me, it wasn't about scoring goals. It was trying to win the battle on the day, where it's 1, 2, 3 centre-halves. And I think naturally you would move across the 2 or 3 of them and try and find the weaknesses on one and stuff. But I think, listen, he's the best around, isn't he, what he does? So it's interesting seeing the form, actually, while he's been out. The team have done really well, haven't they? So it'll be interesting to see how they play today, actually.
Out of interest, who was your most difficult defender?
Oh, this guy here, of course, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you know when he sort of said he used to move from one to the other? For some reason, always come on to me. So that's why.
Now, before I quickly get told off and told to move on, I want a quick Dubai or Marbella story. What happened? What was it like?
I can't remember.
Well, that's the thing. We've just been sitting here. We've just been talking. We were talking before as well with a few of the boys. It's probably best we do not. What happens in Marbella stays in Marbella.
It was good. It
was good though.
Just winding down after a tough season.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
But I think we met Steve for the first time. We were flying to Dubai, so we met him literally in the airport. And you just, when someone comes in, you just click, and he just got on from day one, really. And it went on a bit of a jolly, wasn't it? Really, with Sam. It was report 9 o'clock in the morning for a bit of head tennis, and then you can do what you want, can't you? But it was a great little trip, wasn't it? And a good introductory for you, wasn't it? So.
It was a good introduction. I mean, it kind of opened my eyes because I thought I was kind of bad off the field at times.
You were not.
Not bad. I mean, not horrendously bad, but Davo learned me a couple of things, to be quite honest.
It's good though, because Sam's mentality was to get out of the FA Cup, wasn't it? Because it allowed you more time to recover. It was not to recover in terms of going out drinking. It was like come out of the FA Cup, and then we went on an unbelievable run where we finished the season sort of in the top 6, 7 or something. It was his weird way of thinking.
I'm going to ask Sam when I see him on Monday if it's Kevin Davies said that you wanted to get knocked out of the FA Cup.
He won't admit it, but it's true. It's true.
Okay, and do you know the way I heard that as well? It was so that he could go to Dubai.
Yeah.
The way I actually heard that.
The flights were booked the next day, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. Thank you. So tomorrow is a really special date in the club's history. It is, of course, the 11th of May, and that was the date of the last game that we played at Main Road. And we played it against today's opponent, Southampton, back in 2003. We got beat. Remember, it was yesterday. Absolute typical City there. So 22 years on from this day. And you know what? I'm going to find this really difficult to watch because I have never been back to Main Road. I had a season ticket there and I have never been back because I would find it too emotional to see Main Road knocked down. So thankfully, nobody asked me to go because they knew that I wouldn't. They asked Alistair Mann to go down and have a look at the site and talk us through that final day.
It was part of my life for at least 25 years. I used to come with my family. As you got closer to the ground, especially for a night game, you could see the huge floodlights, so you always saw it from some distance away. But as I drove up here today, you can't even see anything. There's nothing that resembles Main Road except this bit here, which is just a bit weird. So yeah, it just feels weird, it feels odd. But I guess the thing that is important about this spot is it gives you an idea of the geography of the ground, because the Kipax was over there, not that there's anything that resembles it anymore, and the main stand was over there. So yeah, I'm glad the spot is here, because otherwise I wouldn't have a clue where anything was anymore. We all went to this incredible day, and it was all set up, and there was thousands of people who wanted to be there, and only a lucky maybe 33 or 34,000 who were. Kevin Keegan was the manager, and he named Sean Goater as the captain because the Goat had said it was going to be his last ever City game.
The last game at Main Road was a lot of emotions because there was emotions set aside from what was happening with me personally. It being my last game there, it was the last ever game at Main Road, and I was looking at it more from that point of view. It was a privilege to captain the side for the last game, and at that time, as we normally would say, typical City, we didn't win.
Other than, I think, maybe an Anelka shot, maybe 2 Anelka shots, they just never looked like they would score in a million years. And so when Southampton took the lead, it was kind of an inevitability about it. But that was City. That was City, certainly at Main Road, in the Main Road era. But you know what? At the end of the game, the final whistle, it didn't really matter that the City had lost. And I think the remaining sort of hour after the game was all about people literally tearing stickers off their seat numbers and trying to pull up things that were movable so they would have some sort of treasured memory. And the irony was actually, which I also remember, that they'd beaten Liverpool at Anfield the week before, and 2 weeks earlier they lost at home, and the game before that was the last time we actually scored a goal at Main Road, which actually led to a really poignant fact that the last City scorer at Main Road was Marc-Vivien Foé. He'll always have a place in City history that he was the last ever scorer, which was incredibly fitting as it turned out. And I know, because it's Southampton, that we're thinking about the last day at Main Road. The last day at Main Road was an end of a chapter, huge chapter in the club's history, 80 years. But the last 21 years, in 100 years' time, they'll look back at the period of moving to the City of Manchester Stadium, as it was called initially, and then of course the Etihad, and they'll say that was the best period in the club's history.
Oh, look at it. So beautiful. Thank you so much to Alistair Mann. I miss Main Road so much still. I got my first season ticket in 98 at Main Road. Went to my first game at Main Road in 93. And I will never, ever forget the first day I walked up the stairs at Main Road as a 10-year-old, stood over and looked out onto Main Road and just gasped and just thought, oh, I'm home, I'm home, I'm home. I loved it, Steve. What's your best memories?
For me, it was an old-school ground, which was... I do like the new grounds, but in all fairness, I am a big fan of the old-school kind of grounds, which we're not getting anymore because of the way that things are. The very first time I went to Main Road, I was 10. I was playing for Sun and Schoolboys, and we got shown around the ground by Tony Buck. And there's a photograph of me running down the tunnel. You weren't allowed to go on the pitch, so you had to run. You had to stop very quickly, and it's quite surreal because obviously years later I would be coming out in that tunnel. First of all, for Newcastle against Manchester City, then for Manchester City, and then for Manchester City as the captain as well, which is like wow. But when you went to the back of the buildings inside and the rooms inside, this is how you know it was kind of an old school one. They had like kind of wood walls. So there would be wood on the wall, but it was that dark mahogany type thing. But just playing there as a City player and getting the fans and the kit packs and all of that was just absolutely incredible, especially if you scored. But if you won as well, I do like the Etihad, but there's nothing beats Main Road for me.
Oh yeah, a lot. Some of the greatest moments of my life have happened at the Etihad Stadium. But Main Road was the first place I fell in love with football, fell in love with Manchester City, and it was you'd park your car and you'd walk down the terrace streets, and all of a sudden the stadium had come out, and you'd get your paper season ticket book with your 18 or more when we were in the lower leagues, and you'd look for the number and you'd rip your ticket out, and just the memories that I will never ever forget. So tomorrow is the anniversary of the last ever game at Main Road. Now, Kevin, we couldn't have you on this show without getting you to play a game, because we do love a game on this show. I say we, I mean I love a game. Generally the guests don't love the game, but we've got one for you today. So this is top 10 appearances under Pep. This is our version of Tenable. So in honour of Bernardo Silva's 400th appearance last weekend, 401st appearance today, we wanted to put you to the test. Can you name the top 10 most used players under Pep?
Steve's good at this, aren't you? You were talking about this earlier, aren't you?
Well, I've just given you one. I've just given you...
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Bernardo Silva. Well, he is number one. 400...
De Bruyne has got to be up there.
Yeah.
Well, he's number two, Steve, isn't he? 377.
Richard Dunn, is he in there?
No. Under Pep.
Under Pep.
Yes,
okay.
just under Pep.
Aguero?
Sergio Aguero is not in there, no. Goals, he would have been.
Fernandinho, is he on?
Fernandinho, nice one, Kev. Yes, 10th. 244 appearances for Fernandinho.
Keeper? Edison?
No.
Of course, 366 appearances. Edison is in third.
Ooh.
Now, do you want a clue?
Yeah, we need clues.
You've already mentioned him today.
Have I?
Mm-hmm.
God, my memory's bad, isn't it?
Well, I can't remember what you said either.
Somebody that grew up.
Oh, Kyle Walker.
Kyle Walker.
Oh, of course, yeah.
319 appearance under Pep.
I'm just trying to think of the clues.
Think about somebody that's starting today. Ooh.
Bernardo's there.
Do you know what? They are really concentrating here. Local lad.
Oh, Foden?
Phil Foden.
Really?
312 appearances for our Phil.
I'm getting most of these, Steve. Come on.
Steve,
I've got
really
three.
City down here, mate.
I'm just whispering them to you.
Come on, Steve, you're better than this.
I know.
Think about one of the greatest footballers of all time. Official.
Official.
What about the Torres in there? Any of the Torres?
Nope.
No.
Closer to more recent.
Rodri.
Yes,
Rodri.
Steve! Rodri, Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri, 260 appearances under Pep in 9th place. So you still need to get 4, 7,
Current
and
players?
8. 4 is a current player.
player.
7 is not. 8 is a current player.
Oh, 2 current.
Diaz.
No. But right position.
Grealish, is he in there? No.
Nope.
Not starts, no.
Okay, one of the players is current. He left, he came back.
Oh, Gundogan.
Yeah.
Ilkay Gundogan in 4th. He was Pep's first ever signing, so it makes sense. 351 appearances for Ilkay Gundogan. Right, you've got 2 left. You have got 2 English players. 2 English... Stones.
Good shout.
277th. Kevin Davies is thrashing Steve Howey
That
on
is
Manchester City
nonsense.
players.
I do love a quiz, though.
That is nonsense.
Right, come on, final one.
Right.
Are they both English?
Last one, England player. Still playing in the Premier League. Down south.
Down south. Oh, is that Bournemouth or Southampton? Brighton?
Not that south. London.
London.
Okay. That is south to all of us. This man scored a very famous goal for City against Southampton in the last minute of the game. Steve, come on, you're better.
I know. I'm having a bad day today.
You've got this, Steve. I believe in you.
Just
what position?
People watching are screaming.
Probably it's the only the best goal I've seen scored against Southampton was Clancy.
I would say wing.
A winger. I can't.
But maybe, but he can play in the middle.
What team's he playing for now? Come on, get us the final.
I can't remember if it was Chelsea or Arsenal. Arsenal
winger.
This is awful.
Oh, Sterling.
Yes.
Ah, there you go.
Good Lord.
Come on, man, help us out.
Literally,
I got about
my next
7 of
clue
those.
was going to be his name is Raheem.
Begins with an R.
There you go.
Oh, God.
Top 10 there.
That took longer than expected, didn't it?
I didn't enjoy that as much as I thought I was going to.
That was great.
Thank you so much to both of you.
That was hard.
Love a game on this programme. Love a game. You were all screaming Raheem Sterling, weren't you? Right, we're going to go back over now, down to Southampton, because we've sent FG into the away end to speak to some of our incredible away fans.
All right, I'm here at the away section. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the season is nearly over. What has been your favourite away game this season?
Chelsea away.
First game of the season. What can you remember from Chelsea away?
It's a bit of a blur, but we had a great time, didn't we? And we stayed in Windsor, so we got on the train, we got there early, had a couple of drinks, had a good time with the Chelsea fans, didn't we? What did you like best? Chelsea fans,
Who's your favourite Manchester City player?
Omar Mamouche.
And I understand he's trying to change his name to Omar as well.
Yeah, well, he's changed his name. He was called Elliot. Since he got his haircut yesterday, he's now Omar. And he responds to it, which is great.
Listen, it's been a great year watching Manchester City. Thank you so much for all of your support. Let's carry on, moving on to the away section. See you then. All right then, guys. So what has been your favourite away game of this season?
Oh, it's been a tough one, hasn't it? There's been a few. Wolves last minute was good, but then the weight with the goal sort of took the edge off it. Ipswich away, I think, was good. We went up Saturday, the day before, watched Eden Market, which was Super Kev's team at that time, and we hit 6 goals, so we were back. Not that we really went anywhere, but everybody was sort of digging us out when they were around that time because we'd been on a run of results that hadn't been too good. But yeah, but sometimes it's not always about where we're going and results, it's about who you're with and family and stuff as well, you know.
Now you follow City everywhere with your dad, don't you? What's been your favourite away game?
I'd 100% say the same one. But like you said, it's not about the game either. You don't remember the game as much as you remember the memories. I remember going into Ipswich, it probably being the weirdest away end ever with all these corridors and all. There's like a school or something. We were walking down it like, what is this place?
It adds to the occasion, it adds to the experience, doesn't it? You hadn't obviously been to Ipswich before. But yeah.
I'd say it's my favourite one, but also the strangest, I think, strangest one. Very old place.
Now, just to show you guys how much these guys have been following Manchester City everywhere, Dad's going to stitch you up here. He's going to show our viewers on Matchday Live a very special photo. Younger you against current you. Let's show that to the camera. Thank you very much, guys, for following City everywhere. It doesn't go unnoticed, of course, and hopefully we get 3 points today.
Appreciate that. Good man, thank you.
OK, you're a man who travels absolutely everywhere watching City, and we appreciate it greatly. What's been your favourite away game this season?
I'd say Chelsea on the opening day. Yeah, just because we thought we'd reach the heights of what we've reached in the previous seasons, and to go from winning 2-0 to that and ending up with nearly not very much, it's been a bit of an anticlimax really, but yeah, I'd say Chelsea.
And you'll definitely be back next season, of course, as always.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah, no problem at all, definitely. Yeah.
Mate, thank you for your amazing support, all right? As you can hear, the fans are making loads of noise at the turnstiles, so we're going to head back pitch side, and that was the thoughts of the fans.
Thanks so much to FG there. Thank you to all the incredible away fans that have travelled all over the country supporting City this year as well. So we are doing a poll. You can currently see the scores on your screen there. It's on YouTube for your favourite Inside City at 500 moments. So it is currently Kevin Hart's winning with 48%. Oh, OK. There's only 6% on your favourite, Kevin.
Surprised there, yeah.
Oh,
Kevin Hart's a funny guy, though, isn't he?
Balotelli on 38. That was basically just the smirk. City wins 6-1, Balotelli smirks. And then, Jolie and his Iron Man's only 10%. So basically you two picked the ones that the fans that like the least.
Yeah. It's a bit like how the afternoon's gone, hasn't it, with the quiz?
You've still got time to vote. You can get onto YouTube now and choose your favourite Inside City at 500 moment. Now, it's been a busy week across the club, as always, football at all levels. So, give you a bit of an update about what's going on with everybody. So, last night, our EDS team progressed to the PL2 final with a big 2-0 win over Manchester United. It was a brace for Divine Mumbama, which means City will face Palace or Southampton, and the game will be played on Monday. So here are the goals now. Let's take a look at these. Divine Mumbama. Steve, give us your thoughts when this goes in.
Oh, it's a good area. I mean,
question the marking, eh?
Well, the marking's not great, but he does what centre forwards are told to do, kind of head it back where it comes from, across the goalkeeper. And even if the goalkeeper gets a hand on it, somebody could possibly follow it in. But yeah, it's a good header. Lovely little ball in as well.
OK, and this will be the second one as well for City. Oh, nice movement. Was that a back heel?
Yeah. Audacious.
Lovely stuff there. So that was the second goal in that game for Divine Mumbama, which means that City will face Palace or Southampton. That is on Monday. Also, on under-18s, they played their final game of the under-18s Premier League North, which they had already won. That was against Newcastle today, and the score finished 3-3. Finlay Gorman's long-distance strike was the highlight. Try and check that one out on City Plus. So 65 points they finished with, which is a record for an under-18s North side since the restructure back in 2017. So a phenomenal season for the under-18s. Huge congratulations to them. Our under-18s play Villa next Saturday in the Premier League National Final. That is at Villa Park, and that is a repeat of course, the FA Cup Youth Final, which we lost last week. So hopefully there will be an element of revenge there for the under-18s. And also the women had their last WSL game of the season. It's finished shortly, not long ago, and they ended up beating Crystal Palace 5-2. Shout out to Rebecca Kanak. 2 goals for her today. Also, she scored at Old Trafford last week as well, so it's great to have her back. So, and also two assists there for Ava Fagino as well. So the women won 5-2 against Palace today. So, oh my goodness, less than 10 minutes away from today's 3 o'clock kickoff against Southampton in the Premier League. Let's head back over now, back right down south to Southampton and get the final thoughts from FG and Michael Brown.
Yes, welcome back to St Mary's. We've come round to the away section to watch our players go through their final preparations. Big game, big stakes for Manchester City, and the home team, it's their penultimate home game of the season, and you've just informed me they're playing Arsenal next. So
yeah, nice couple of easy ones for them to end after a disappointing season. And the other one is Everton away in Everton's final game. So very much all to do for Southampton when they're feeling sorry for themselves, when things haven't gone their way. But we've got a great following again, haven't we? We'll be right behind it. We've got to cement that place in the Champions League. That's why it's so important. The focus is there now. They realise they're going to come out of the blocks and try and win the game as early as we possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you'd say that everybody here is probably expecting a Manchester City win, but it's never that simple in football. You can see how focused our players are as we pan the camera towards them, and it's very much, you know, the level of professionalism throughout everything this season has been extraordinary. This group of players have come out of a really difficult spell and potentially have an opportunity to end the season so well, and also with some silverware.
Yeah, that's what it's about, isn't it? Winning some silverware. That moment now, getting over there, the focus there, the fans now are just giving that little bit of an extra sort of support, and when you walk out, that's the best feeling as a footballer. You get that walk across, it just gives you that buzz, it gives you that lift. That's what you do it for. Now obviously Haaland back, Kevin De Bruyne, we get him another time. It's coming, isn't it? But, you know, it's about focus. It's about making sure you dominate the game. We'll have a lot of possession, we know. They've got some dangerous players, but we've got to maybe score an early goal just to put it at ease and completely control it with next week in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week in mind, indeed. I mean, you've got to get to GoCom, so we better head back to the studio straight away. You'll be able to listen to this man throughout, as always, as we do every week. Big game here today. Stick with us. We'll see you at half-time.
Thank you so much there to FG and to Michael Brown. So the Southampton team, you can see them there in the tunnel. We're awaiting the City team now. Less than 6 minutes until kickoff. You can get full match commentary on the Manchester City app if you're not currently watching us on the Manchester City app. Time to get yourself over there now. You'll get the commentary from the wonderful team, the real Ant and Dec, Alistair Mann and Michael Brown. Love you, FG. Quickly, gents, give me a prediction for today's game, Steve.
Ooh. It's a difficult one, because I think even if City don't score early doors, I still think they can get goal, and then they could go on. Football is weird. Sometimes you expect a team to basically run away with it, and they don't. I still think this is going to be...
Come on, Steve.
4-0.
Woohoo! OK, thank you, Kevin.
I'll go one less. I think it's going to be a tough afternoon for Southampton. I just don't think there's enough quality in that squad now, and the way they are, if they go behind, first 5 or 10 minutes are going to be a long afternoon for them. So I think they'll probably take a 3-0. So as much as it hurts to say, I think it'll be a comfortable afternoon for City.
3-0 for Kev, 4-0 for Steve. I'm going 5-0 because I think
Do you know what?
Kevin De Bruyne looks.
The weird thing is, I think if you'd asked, I know this, you know, if you'd asked them, but like quietly, if you'd asked the Southampton players, would you take 3 or 4-0? I think they'd go, yeah.
Oh my gosh! OK, well, I'll be happy with that. Right, let's go over now to our incredible commentary team, Alistair Mann and Michael Brown, and we'll see you back at half-time.
Thank you, Natalie. 3 weeks remain of the season, and City sit positively in third, and with many of their nearest rivals playing against each other, today represents a major opportunity to move closer to securing a place in next season's UEFA Champions League. With a full week to prepare for the FA Cup final, the Blues can truly focus on overcoming Southampton, and while there is no such thing as a formality, the hosts are coming close to ending the most torrid of seasons, having already been beaten in 28 of their 35 matches this campaign. But the bottom club Southampton come into this one off the back of a 2-0 defeat to 19th place Leicester. And interim coach Simon Rusk has made 3 changes to his lineup, bringing in Bree, Wellington and Dibbling. Ex-City Academy star Taylor Harwood-Bellis faces his former club at the heart of a 3-man defence, which looks to have wing-backs to supplement those 3 centrally. Southampton have scored the fewest goals and conceded the most. They've also lost 11 of their last 12 matches here.